time is 5:32. And Dr. Sterling, would you like to lead us in prayer? Of course.
Good afternoon, everyone. If we will bow our heads for a short prayer. Merciful Father, Lord, just thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for bringing us together here tonight. Lord, help us to all be as one as we make decisions for the city of Hoschton, and help us to not have our own personal agenda in this, but make decisions for the best of all the members of our community. I thank you, Merciful Father, for all the families that are represented here. These things I ask and pray in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Just let me lead us in the pledge.
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, agenda approval. I will make a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? New business. Mr. Hayes, will you do the public hearing for us?
Yes. All right, if y'all look at your agendas, you'll see that we have 4 items listed on the public agenda. 3 of those items, we've received requests from the applicant to table them. Item 2, which is the George Flanagan item, and item 3, the Eddie Butler item, we've received requests to table those until our June 20th meeting. Mayor and Council, if y'all are okay with that, then I would ask that someone make a motion to table items 2 and 3 to our June 20th council meeting.
I will make a motion to table until our June 20th council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I have
Did you vote favor that, Mr. Tucker? Okay, great. Yeah.
The next line says the meeting's the 23rd.
Yeah, that's a typo on the agenda. I think it says June 23rd. We don't have a council meeting on June 23rd. It's June 20th. So please note that on your calendars if you're interested. And then item 4, the Quam Rudin rezoning item. We've received requests from the applicant to table that one until our July 18th council meeting. So Mayor and Council, if that's okay with y'all, I'd ask for a motion to table item 4 to our July 18th council meeting.
I will make a motion to table until July 18th.
Second.
All in favor? All right, so that leaves us with item 1. A public hearing has been called on V-22-02. Philip Florio, applicant and property owner, seeks a variance from the Hoschton zoning ordinance, section 4.02, R1, single-family low-density residential district. Dimensional requirements to reduce the required minimum principal building setback from Dove Trail per final plat from 60 feet to 30 feet for property map/parcel 120.01015, fronting on the north side of Quail Run and the west side of Dove Trail, 1.03 acres. The proposed use is for a detached single-family dwelling, and I hereby open that public hearing. Jennifer, could you confirm that notice has been given?
Yes.
All right. After we hear a report from our city planning staff, we will allow speakers both in favor of and in opposition to the application. All speakers must abide by the following rules. When it's your time to speak, please come up to the podium, speak into the microphone so that everybody can hear you. State your name, address, and whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton. Speak only to the merits of the application. Address all comments to Mayor and Council. Please do not make personal attacks. If you do so, then I'm going to ask you to cease doing that. Discuss the facts instead of giving opinions and speculation. To allow an opportunity to as many people who wish to speak as possible, please try not to duplicate points that have already been made. Each side will have a total of 10 minutes to speak. If we have a whole bunch of speakers on one side or the other, then I'll limit y'all accordingly so that everybody gets a chance to speak. Agendas and outlines of public hearing procedures are located on the table near the entrance to the meeting room, and after the hearing is closed, the matter will be returned to the council for a decision. All right, are you going to present this?
Yes.
Great.
As you stated, a variance application was submitted to reduce the front principal building setback from 60 feet to 30 feet for the purpose of constructing a single-family home with an additional garage. The minimum front building setback in the R1 zoning district is 40 feet. However, the final plat for Quail Crossing Phase 2 has a 60-foot setback. So you have a smaller area to construct a home. And when building setbacks are specified on the final plat, that overrides the zoning regulations. So Mr. Florio has asked to reduce the required setback from 60 feet to 30 feet for this garage addition. Planning staff felt that the 1 acre lots were large enough so that giving this variance would be not harmful to the neighborhood, and so we recommended approval.
All right, is that it?
Yes, sir?
Great. Is there, excuse me, is there anyone here who wishes to speak on behalf of the applicant? So raise your hand. All right, come on up. You, Mr. Florio? Yes, sir. Great. You'll just state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton. You'll have up to 10 minutes, and you can reserve any of that time you wish for rebuttal in case you need something.
Just so everybody knows, it's the first time I've ever been to one of these, so
Welcome.
you'll have to excuse me a little bit. So my wife and I are moving into Hoschton. We're not residents right now. We do own the property. We paid cash for the property. We just closed, actually, on our construction with our builder the other day. We signed a contract, so we're hoping to move forward. It's going to be a fairly high-end home. It's about 2,500 square foot heated, and then with 3 garages. 2 came with the original plans, and then we added a 3rd car garage due to the fact that there was no basement. We're building on a slab, so we're limited to the amount of storage room. We don't want to put stuff outside or anything like that, so we want to have an additional garage for maybe my workout bench and so forth, so on, things like that. The house, again, is of a higher end version, brick and stone in front, hardy board 3 sides. We plan on doing, the front yard will have a 3 rail fence around the whole front. The front yard will probably be over 100 feet long. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Quail Crossing area, but the house itself is on a corner, so it's narrower on Quail Crossing and deeper on Dove Trail. And this is going to be a ranch house, so we're going to face the front of it towards Quail Run, and then the side of the house will be on Dove Trail. The entrance to the garage will be on Dove Trail, 2-car garage in, and then the 3rd garage on the side like this. We're also planning on putting a stockade fence up along the back of the house. So everything should be, apropos and bring positiveness to the neighborhood. It's about a 30-year-old neighborhood. This will be a brand new house. We wanted to get out of Lawrenceville. We wanted to move north. Our in-laws moved into Crestwind, so we're going to be close to that. I got 3 grandkids. I want to be able to play in the front yard and stuff like that. So, we're looking forward to coming here. If everything's applicable and we meet all requirements, we hope that you guys will allow us to build our house there. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Florio.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the application? If so, raise your hand.
Question.
Do you want to speak in favor or in opposition?
Well, I'll speak in favor.
All right,
and
will
I
you
add
come
2
on
general
up?
comments at the end to
Sure,
give
if you'll come on up and state your name, your address, and whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton, and there's 9 minutes, about 8 minutes left.
Christina Brown, 205 Quail Run. I am a city resident, and I will be about 2 houses down from the new neighbor, and I welcome him. That lot is really not buildable without that variance. So, and it sounds like he's building something appropriate for the neighborhood, so I am in favor of that. I did want to take a minute of your time, if I can, for 2 other general comments. There is an item on the regular session, which is
All
not...
right, ma'am, we're having a public hearing only on
Okay.
this item. We will have a time for public comment at the end of the work session agenda.
Okay.
So if you've got comments about any other items, whether it's something else on the agenda or anything at all, then you're welcome to raise your hand when I get to that point and make any comments you wish.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much. All right, does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the application? If so, raise your hand. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the application? If so, raise your hand. All right, do y'all have any questions for staff or Mr. Foria or anyone? We've got him on record, he wants to be close to his in-laws. I've never heard that before.
That's not actually the fact, I'm just saying. In fact, my in-laws said they're gonna put a tracker on my daughter's cross, so they know when they're there. Two grandkids will be there.
All right, well, if y'all don't have any questions, I'm gonna close the public hearing and turn it over to y'all. Well, just close the public hearing and then it'll come up on our work session agenda. And that's the only items we have on our public hearing agenda. Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So adjourning, I will make a motion, 5:43, second.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Are you in favor? Thank you. No, you're fine. All right, work session, 5:43. I will make a motion to call to order. Second. All in favor? All opposed? Agenda approval, again, as noted, line items for new business 2 through 4 have been tabled. I will make a motion to approve agenda. Second.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? All right, we will do the oath of office for our new Judge Green and Solicitor Amy Carter.
All right. where do you want us? Over here? Yeah, this sounds good. I don't think we ever met. So we have. Oh, have
Just
we?
briefly.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
okay.
Well, then you just
I'm very forgetful.
All right. All right, Judge, we'll do Judge Green first, and then we'll do you since it's different offices. Judge, if you want to raise your right hand. And I will read out the whole oath, and then if you do so swear, you can say I do so swear at the end of it. All right. I, Judge Green, a citizen of Jackson County, state of Georgia, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will well, truly, and faithfully perform and discharge the duties devolved upon me as court judge for the city of Hoschton, Georgia, that I will faithfully enforce the law of the city, that I will support and defend the charter of the city of Hoschton, as well as the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States of America, and that I will do all in my power to promote the general welfare of the inhabitants of the city of Hoschton and the common interest thereof. I do further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which by the laws of the state of Georgia I am prohibited from holding, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia, so help me God. Do you so swear?
I do so swear.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
All right, if you will raise your right hand, and we'll do it the same way we did Judge Green. I, Ms. Amy Carter, a citizen of Jackson County, state of Georgia, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will well, truly, and faithfully perform and discharge the duties devolved upon me as solicitor for the city of Hoschton, Georgia, that I will faithfully enforce the law of the city, that I will support and defend the charter of the city of Hoschton, as well as the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States of America, and that I will do all in my power to promote the general welfare of the inhabitants of the city of Hoschton and the common interest thereof. I do further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which by the laws of the state of Georgia I am prohibited from holding, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia. So help me God. Do you so swear?
I do so swear.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, so going over to our mayor, council, and staff reports. Does anybody got anything? Mr. Ledbetter?
I got nothing.
Parcel? Mr. Rossi?
We're just working on some things for the cemetery.
Dr. Strayland? Other than the short term, we'll get to that couple line items. No? Okay. All right. Edsel, you got anything?
No, I've got mine, I just thought Judge and Ms. Carter, y'all are welcome to stay, but it gets boring from here on out. If you wanna,
I think we need to sign.
We need to sign the oath, I
That's
believe.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's got it. All right.
nah, you might hear someone.
Chief Hill, will you give us an update, please?
I always have something for you.
I know you do.
Absolutely. Let everybody know we're fully up and running with the department, thank the Lord, with the exception of the speed. It has been approved through the DOT. All the roadways I submitted were approved. And now I'm fixing to hand y'all a letter, if I can get y'all to sign this. This is for the Georgia State Patrol, the Department of Public Safety. It's the same thing you sign for the list of roadways. This is just for them. And this will be our final thing to get the speed permit up and going for the city. If I can get everybody's signature on that. We're fully up and running with the reporting system. What I just gave y'all, it'll be the same thing that goes to the paper, that goes to Ben. And that's a list of what's happened. That's from May 1st till now. So that kind of gives y'all an idea of what's going on in Houston as far as law enforcement wise. That's the media release. It gives you the narrative of anything that I've worked. Thank y'all. It gives you a narrative pretty much of anything that our future officers work. I'll give y'all one of those at every council meeting. Right now, we have the first court date set up as July the 14th, and it'll be held here in the depot. So we have Judge Green and Solicitor Carter sworn in, so we're good to go with court. Personnel, we do have a full-time listing for a full-time officer right now. That will close out on the 28th of this month to run the 30 days to satisfy the city charter. So hopefully we can hire another full-time officer for next month and maybe look at a part-time or so to work on the weekends. Speed cameras, I met with the Board of Education on the 26th of May. They were very receptive, and that will be on their June agenda for the speed cameras. So I'm not gonna say yay or nay on that because you really never know. But they were very receptive, especially when they found out those speed cameras don't run 24 hours a day, which they thought they did. For the school systems. Activity, there's been some thefts down in Twin Lakes, Internados. We had another incident there, and I talked to the contractor down there possibly about putting some tag reader cameras. And then I just took a burglary report down here at Hoschton Park. They broke into the concession stand and stole all the candy out of the concession stand. So I would say that was probably kids, but that is all that I have for right now. Does anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, citations. 4 citations issued in the last 2 weeks and warnings. And the majority of the citations were written during our festival here Saturday for people not stopping, for people crossing the crosswalk. That's a real dangerous thing. We'll get a lot of complaints on that about cars trying to run over people when the flashing lights are already on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Old business line item number 1 for purchasing policy. Shannon, if you'll go over what you just updated on that.
So everybody should have 2 pages of purchasing policy. Just like the table, we discussed this at the retreat, we ironed it out amongst staff. So this is the one that we want to move it to. That's the only thing in the policy that's changing. You just note the limits on it, to where we're doing this pretty much all in-house. We've raised the limits, really, so we're just not bringing, minor items, every little item to the mayor and council.
Well, I mean, if it's already been voted in and approved by the council in the budget, then we're doing double work by bringing it back to us.
And you'll notice that there on the end part, that if there was anything over $25,000 that wasn't in the budget, it all comes back to the mayor and council. And at each different level, it takes multiple signatures to get it approved, from myself and the city clerk to the finance director and the department head, just depending on the level. We would ask to get this updated tonight.
All right, new business line item number 1. Does anybody have any questions for Nancy? Yeah, I think you explained well. I mean, we have a resident here who's in favor of it, so, and she's gonna live 2 doors down, so. All right, we'll get there. All right, so skipping over to line item number 5, since the other 3 were tabled, 2, 3, and 4 were tabled. So amending cemetery rates and policy. Now Shannon, I know you and I have had a couple conversations, I'm sure you've spoken with them as well. Give us a rundown on, let's start with what we're gonna do as far as residency.
So everybody, we've, cemetery lot sales in Houston have been brisk, to say the least. And we've, probably the majority of them are being sold to out-of-city residents, non-residents. Our rates for a standard plot, burial plot, of 10 foot by 10 foot, which would hold 2 people, has been approximately $2,000. We've called a few other cemeteries. We're undervalued for sure. My recommendation would be to raise our cost for a 10 by 10 lot to $6,000 and to sell them only to City of Houston residents. There was a statement in there that the city manager would have the right to alter that in extreme cases. And I wanted to give you, because we were talking about this, let's just say you were born here and grew up here, your family was buried here, and you moved off, lived overseas for most of your life, but you wanted to be buried in Houston, and you wanted to buy a plot and move back here. I think something like that should be allowed.
To be buried with your family.
Yes, but there's only about 79 lots left in the city cemetery.
Well, when you say lots,
That's a
two
two-person
spaces
lot.
per lot.
So that
So
would
it
be,
gives you 100 and about 160. And I think we reserved some of the 1 or 2 lines in the very back for a future mausoleum or future place to put cremains.
and that's on the
And
agenda
that's on
tonight
the-
too.
That's good.
Put item 5 on the consent agenda.
Yes. I'm good with that.
And the purchasing policy amendment?
And purchasing policy,
Yes.
that's fine. So that would be line item number 1 under old business, and then number 5 under new business. All right, line item number 6, new IGA, intergovernmental agreement for elections with Jackson County. So this one is pretty straightforward. We have a special election that will be coming up sooner rather than later. So we need to make sure that we have something in place with the county so that they will hold the elections for us. You guys got questions about that one? It's pretty straightforward.
It's, the rate went up, it's $2.50 per registered voter.
So it did go up a bit, because I think it was, what, $1?
It's $1.
And it did go up to $2.50.
Yeah, but there's no way the city of Houston can hold elections for that cost.
Put that on consent agenda.
Consent agenda. All right, line item number 7 for election qualifying period. So we are going to do qualifying for August 1st through the 3rd of 2022 this year. That will get you on the ballot for November of this year to fill our open council seat. So if you're interested, your time to qualify is going to be the 1st through the 3rd of August. Number 8, intergovernmental agreement with Jackson County on stormwater fees and to collect property taxes.
We put item 7, sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yes,
Consent.
that's fine. Okay, perfect. So item number 7. So number 8, Shannon, do you want to go over a little bit of the stormwater and, well, the entire IGA?
I can,
rather?
yeah. So, most of you should know, about a year ago, we adopted an MS4 stormwater fee for the city of Hoschton. City of Hoschton got put into this through, I guess it was EPA, EPD. Cost us, for the last several years, we've probably been out of pocket $60,000, $75,000 a year. But it's to monitor stormwater, you have to do inspections. It's quite a report. I've seen the reports, and they're about this thick. It's amazing all the data that you have to do. So anyhow, we're gonna collect stormwater fees. I think it's gonna average $50 to $75 a home per year, so it's not much. But we were trying to do the most economical way to collect it. So we've gone to Jackson County, and on your property tax bills, this will be a line item on your property tax bills. We talked about putting it on the water bills or sending out a separate one. Well, you've got a lot of tenants in town. Well, they're not responsible for it, the landowner, the property owner is. And also, within this IGA, the city ever adopts a property tax millage rate, it would also go on this document. So it would be it's a one-stop shop for the city. They've already got everybody's name, address, it's all in there. We just feed them the information. It's printed out and sent it to you in October for a December payment.
And I would say it's also helpful that we aren't, because we were gonna have to buy a software in order to be able to collect the taxes. So bundling it all together with Jackson County, I think will be helpful and save us the cost of having to buy software.
Our cost on it is, and we get charged the same thing every other city does, or like the school system, but we get charged $1 a bill plus 2% of what we collect. Isn't that right, Jim? Yeah. So again, we couldn't come close to buying software.
Consent agenda?
Consent agenda. All right, line item number 9 is gonna be for a standard operating policy for the police department. And Chief Bill, if you wanted to give us a rundown of that. Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all looked at it, and I know you hadn't read it because it's hundreds, if not 1,000 pages. The standard operating procedures will be what the officers will go by once we hire another full-time officer. It took me about a month to put this together, looking at the computer screen, taking a break, looking at the computer screen, taking a break. It goes over for anything but what weapons their officer will carry, how they'll treat their cars, what they'll wear, uniforms, you name it, it's in there. It's a long policy. I took several different cities and built them into one, and also some of the things from the county where I come from, and made the policy for the police department, and that's really about all I can say about it.
Thank you.
I think I've read that page by page.
Line
I'm
by
still
line?
working on it.
Number 9, consent agenda?
Yes, I already added it on there for you. All right. Line item number 10 for the survey on Broad Street. Shannon, can you explain what all is coming with that survey?
Yeah, I think I've talked to most of one of you. I called you ahead of time because we were trying to meet some time restraints, but the document here, the bid was to not to exceed $5,000 to do a topo survey on that 7 acres that we brought, White, Broad, and Mulberry Street. And the guy came in there, it's done, I've got copies of it, but for anything and everything we do with that property, that was, Jerry, we had to have the topo to start with. And, because, we're working on some stuff on this agenda tonight. We haven't got a bill, but Jerry said it would not exceed $5,000.
Yes.
Just to really ratify it.
Okay. Line item number 11 for the estimate for the Mulberry home roof. Now, I'm sure everybody saw that we got 3 estimates for it. The staff did recommend a particular company. Shannon, do you want to explain why you came to that?
And Ken, I've talked with most of you about this, you've all seen the house, the roof. I've been trying to get a roof for almost a year. We got 3 bids on it, 2 of them fairly close. I've just read through them. Joe and I have talked about it in detail. That house was decked, you know, it's a 100-year-old house, and it's decked with 1x6s, 1x4s, 1x8s. You know they've drawn up and separated over the years, and as these guys get to nailing, they're gonna miss and shoot nails through shingles most likely, unless they tear them off and they're all still real tight. And we may run into a lot of rotted wood, and we don't know until we tear off the existing shingles. Most of you would recognize this company that I selected. I've never had work done from them, but they've probably roofed more houses in the state of Georgia than anybody else. Finley Roofing, everybody hears the commercials, roof. Gave us a solid bid, quality materials, and their charge, if we have to roof the entire house with, I say roof it, redeck it with plywood. OSB was the cheapest one. And so we may get out of it less. You'll see, I mean, the cost to deck it was $6,400. I mean, that's just the cost of plywood these days and labor. I mean,
What was the total bid?
$16,920 if we have to deck it, and if not, it was $11,020. So, you know, a year ago I said, you know, it costs us $15,000 to roof that house. So, you know, we're right in the ballpark. But that's the staff recommendation.
We got anybody looking at it yet? To rent it?
Yes,
We did have somebody today.
yes. I'm already DDA hot heavy. Trying to.
Yep, somebody came out today. Consent agenda,
Yeah, we didn't clarify 10 and 11.
10 and 11. Yeah. And just to confirm, for 11, are we gonna use staff recommendation? Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so that'll be who we're gonna vote on for 11. Number 12, estimate to clear trees on Mulberry property. We got some estimates on that?
We just got the one in-house, don't we? So I'll tell you what's going on. Most of you know what's going on, but we've only gotten 1 bid back so far. It's just hard for people to come bid. But on that Mulberry property, we're gonna clear off the front half of the trees, mulch it down, kind of get it prepped to move the playground over there. The guy that I got the bid from, you know, we talked about going through the back part of that property, kind of snaking through it, cutting some trails, opening it up a little bit, cleaning out around that house so we can see the house from the road better. And and we'd have enough mulch to put back on the ground, you know, for almost like soil erosion, and also filtering in those trails. So, but it looks like we'll be back next month if we don't have a,
Well,
what?
I mean, what are we exactly?
if we can't, we try to get bids, we can't get bids. If the council wants to vote for this, this company.
We've tried to get,
Oh, we've worked hard.
so if we can't get it,
We have begged to try to get
continue to
it.
go forward.
Do you have an estimate? Have you seen the estimate?
It was on. the
Yeah,
list.
we've got an estimate.
Okay. What is the cost of the estimate?
Well, I would say that if we're gonna, we shouldn't release the cost of the estimate unless we're gonna go with the one we've got, because if not, then everybody else knows what he's did.
Well,
Right.
it's up to the council to go with that if they want to. We don't have to get any other bids.
And I think
How long have we
it's
been
a good
trying to
bid.
get bids? While?
2-3 weeks.
How long have we tried to get bids?
2 to 3
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
and only one
it's been
person.
3
We
weeks.
have called, we just Googled and called everybody.
Is he ready to start?
Yeah, he talked like he could get on it, here within the next month. I mean, he's done a lot of the mulching over there in that culture mill. We all know how many trees have been removed over there. He's got the equipment to do it, to do the job right. I knew it a long time ago.
So you're gonna do the whole 6 acres, whole 7 acres?
Well, we're gonna, most everything there on the front, back.
Or the old house, one we
All
just
the way,
tore down?
yeah, all the way across there. Almost back, you know, where it offsets there on that White Street side, we'll leave a pretty good buffer between our property line and, you know, because there's a house right So we'll leave that with it. But then as it cuts back kind of behind the Mulberry House, you know, it narrows down back there, we would go through there and kind of just make maybe a big S-turn, kind of through there.
That big old tree's still down there.
Yeah.
Will he get that done?
He's gonna get it off, when it's all done, that front will be open. You know, sunlight can hit it, it'll dry it out, and we will use that for parking. If it's not pouring in rain for Fall Festival, which would be very welcome there to have some extra parking. And we're working now to get playground equipment bids to put the playground on the corner over there towards the Sonic Lodge. There's a little, where that old house is.
Right.
We'll flatten that out a little bit and make that look right and kind of create some parking up there for the playground.
Well, to review your options, you're in a bit of a pickle because you can't vote on it without disclosing who submitted the bid and how much it is. So, and of course you don't want to vote on it until you know who it is and how much it is because you want to make sure you're comfortable with it. So
Right.
I think y'all should, if y'all want to know that, to consider it, you can, but just like Tracy or James said, if you disclose it, then any other bidders are going to have a pretty good sense of what they're up against. So I would say you can either wait until the next month or if we've got the information handy, you can disclose it, and then y'all can decide whether or not you're okay with it.
I do think this is a good bid.
I mean, I
It's
think
less
it's
than I thought it
already
would
been
be.
getting phone calls back.
Oh, and let me back up too. So we will use money, out of this project, we will use money out of SPOS 6 for this.
And for the roof,
No, not for the roof.
just for the,
Yeah. Yeah, the playground.
We got enough
Clear.
to cover 100% of that.
Oh,
in this one.
Yeah.
so it's not gonna
We'll
cost
make-
us anything, but of course we still wanna get, you know, that's bang for our buck.
Yeah.
But it won't cost us anything, it's coming from SLOSS.
Man, it's coming from Boston.
Can you put it on a piece of paper and pass it around?
It's coming from Boston.
I mean, y'all tell me.
Hey,
I'd be fine to vote on
Is
it.
he in the area now working?
I don't know. He does a lot of work here.
Are y'all interested in knowing tonight so you can vote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to move with it. If we move with it, let's get, because he talked like he could get in there and get at it.
I mean, it cost somebody $2,000 to just remove that big tree that fell.
Yeah, we're talking about clearing about 2
You're
acres.
talking about clearing something.
We're talking about clearing solid 2 acres plus a little bit in the trails.
You're giving us tons of mulch.
Oh, yeah.
To use.
And he told me too, he says, anytime y'all need mulch, just tell me. He says he's all the time trying to give away mulch, get rid of mulch. He said, I ain't bringing mulch, but tractor trailer.
It's a big deal that we've lost our parking for the festival. And that being a place for festival parking is a plus.
Yeah, it'll be.
And we're gonna get a new playground over there, so that's gonna pull these kids away from 53.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be bigger and better.
Parking here.
I'm all
I
right.
mean, I say let's just go ahead and vote on it if we're not getting anybody to return our calls.
We need to know what it is. Like,
That's what I'm
it is.
saying, like, we need to know
Yeah.
what it is that we're gonna vote on. Is everybody
I'm
okay
good.
with?
I'm good to vote.
Yes,
Yeah, roll the dice.
The bid was $25,000 and,
Whoa.
the company, I believe it's Quay Contracting, the owner's name is Grant Henderson.
25,000?
Yes.
And again, this is coming from SLOSS funds that have been given to the city.
Consent?
25,000
Yeah, consent.
consent. Okay, line item number 13, the water sales agreement between Jackson County and the city of Hoschton. Shannon, I'm gonna let you go over most of that. I will say that they have gone up quite a bit on water. 25% they're going to be charging us on top of what we have been paying. So that stings a little, but
Mayor and Council, y'all have the original agreement that we've been working on for the last 3 years. And this is redlined, just showing really what the new one's gonna be. Basically, it's a 25% increase in cost. And there's a stipulation in there, they don't guarantee us water. It's really just kind of caveat, the lake goes dry, we're not gonna sue them because they're out of water, that kind of thing. But, yeah, it was a 25% increase per thousand, and, it's cost of doing business. The good thing is, I'll tell you this, the water treatment plant that Jackson County gets their water from, the Bear Creek Reservoir, they're about to double the treatment plant capacity from 21 million gallons per day to 42 million gallons per day. So, as long as there's water in the reservoir, we're gonna have, that's quite an increase, so I'm confident Hoschton's in good shape for water. And we're negotiating also with other cities, counties, to have multiple sources, plus we're working on our wells. That's been slow, but we are working on it.
And also, we're gonna be going from what was 80 PSI down to 60 PSI is what they're offering us.
Yeah, it's really not a big deal. Brett and I have talked about that, and Jerry, that's not a big deal. And also, y'all should remember that we're gonna wind up being, most likely have to build a booster pump. It's coming from that line to fill the new water tank. But we've already gotten a grant that'll cover most of that cost.
And how many years does this cover, this agreement?
It's 3 years.
3 years.
But again, we do have another city that we are right now working with to negotiate
Well, we bought some
additional
Brazelton.
sources.
We've already bought from
Yes.
Brazelton also.
That's correct.
So we've got multiple sources.
Consent agenda?
Sure.
Okay, line item number 14 for long and short-term disability for our city employees. Dr. Sterling, she's been working really hard on this to try and get this set up and lined up to offer to our employees because we do not offer any type of disability to them. So if you want to kind of catch us up on where you're at with it.
On March 21st of 2022, Jennifer and I, we met over at City Hall with Steve Kaiser, who's an Aflac representative, and he also brought along Stuart Perry, who's a broker. But anyway, he shared with us very affordable prices for short and long-term disability for our employees. For example, like short-term, $156 a month, long-term, $214. And we have to make a decision if the city's gonna pay for it or if the individual is gonna pay for it. And the long-term, after 3 months, if someone is out, it will pay 60% of their income. And short-term happens prior to the 90-day, 90-day period. So it was very, good, competitive price. So we're going to present it to the council and go from there.
Okay.
I'd just add to that, we met at our last staff meeting. We brought this up to the staff, all the guys, and there was some interest in it. My recommendation would be, if they like it, let them pay for it.
Yeah.
If Brad said he used it,
When he had,
When he
was
had
it
an
an
accident
accident?
here.
So I'll speak on it, I don't know if y'all know, but December of 2020, I was in a very bad car accident. It wasn't my fault. I was hit on 441 and I was in the recliner after back surgery for about 2 months. And had I not had short-term, long-term disability, it would have took all of my sick leave from the county. But fortunately, I had short-term disability. Short-term disability was paid for by the employee with the county, and the city, or the county paid for long-term. That's the way the county works. If you want short-term, it was on you, and if you wanted long-term, that was paid for by the county and everybody. But had I not had that, the 2 months that I was unfortunately laid up in a recliner recovering from two titanium rods being put in my back, it would have exhausted all of my leave time. But luckily I had short-term and long-term disability. So it may not be something that, may not even happen at work. Like mine didn't happen at work. That was not a work-related injury. That was when I was off. And the some people, that would probably put you in a very bad financial burden, if you were out of work for a couple months. So I
Well,
think it's
workers'
a great
comp
thing.
would cover while they're at work,
That's right.
correct?
Right.
Okay, so this is like when you're not at work.
Right.
And I would say this to y'all, if you wanna let the staff pay for it, if they want it, they can pay for it. If y'all are wanting the city to pay for it, I would say just wait and make it effective January next year, so we can include it in next year's budget. We kind of pre-plan it, because that's definitely not the budget.
Thoughts?
Is that it, really anything needs to be voted on tonight?
I think it's gonna be brought back to us, right?
Well,
It's on the voting, is it not?
Jennifer said
we
it.
do need to vote for it.
Yeah.
If we're gonna move forward with it.
Yeah.
So,
And then in the minutes, we can put, that it's, the staff is gonna pay for it, and then we'll just revisit it during the budget.
and the amounts are not per employee, that amount covers all employees, correct, Dr. Sterling? So really you would look at only the staff paying maybe $18.
Well,
We come up with like
When we did the numbers, it was around.
short term is $13 per
Yeah.
employee, and long term is $17.83 per employee, so it's.
Per month.
Per month.
which is nothing. I mean, that's,
Right, so, but we do need to have a motion to go forward with it, to allow the staff to,
Right now?
So would we wanna do it
not during
like,
work session.
to where we would pay long term, and if we wanted to pay short term, you could pay for short term, or are you saying let's just do it?
When the county
the
doesn't.
county did long-term and then we paid the employee, you paid for short-term.
Okay.
Long-term should be cheaper than short-term.
You know, I would suggest, at least for the rest of this year, just offer it to the employees, if they want to sign up and they can pay for it. Let them.
Because it's not in the budget.
And if y'all want to start paying for it next year, then let's talk about that.
I'd be fine with that.
So this would be, on the consent agenda with the approval of just letting
Letting them,
decide if they want it or not.
and then we'll revisit in January on who's gonna pay for what. But as of right now, just giving the associates the option.
Yes.
Exactly, so essentially voting on the option for them to get it if they want it, if that makes sense. Okay, so we'll add that to
How
the
many
consent.
employees do we have?
Third,
15.
Well, let's see, the last one last week, we were 14.
Is that good?
Yeah.
okay, line I'm 15 for the cemetery. This one's interesting. Shannon.
So, Gary first brought this to my attention. You know, we talked about this to some extent a year or so ago, about taking a plot over there in the cemetery and making like 2x2 squares and granite pieces for cremated areas. Well, about a month ago, he sent me some pictures. He was in Elberton, and this granite company imports cremain memorials.
Columbariums.
Called what?
Columbariums is what they call them.
I don't know that I can say that word.
Columbariums.
There you go.
Was
Okay.
that right?
It's pretty good. So anyhow, I've given you pictures of, Jennifer and I went up there and looked at these things.
For all y'all interested.
They're very nice, very nice. They range in size from, I don't know, about 25 or 30 spaces up to the biggest one that we saw was 72 spaces. That's 72 individual spots that you could place an urn or cremains inside. Then you take the door off and the company puts the name, date of death, that kind of stuff on the front door. Very well done. They're extremely heavy. He's got several of these in stock. They sell them, they move them. What I propose is us take a section over there in the cemetery, a 20 by 20 area. So that would eat up 2 plots where normally 4 people would be buried, okay? We'll make this 20 by 20 area. We'll pour a nice concrete slab, and we can start with one of these. And I recommend the octagon one that holds the 72
Option
urns.
2 in your
Niches.
packet.
Niches.
Niches. Okay. We would place it right in the middle. They have nice benches. We'd maybe get us a couple of granite benches to go maybe on the corners. And then as this one's filled, when it gets close to being filled, we can go back and buy another, maybe one of the rectangle ones, and sit it closer to the side. Or we could slide this one over a little bit and maybe put one next to it. I mean, in this 20 by 20 area, we might could put 250, 300 spots on this, because we're going vertical and not horizontal. And instead of burying 4 people, we're going to bury several hundred people on the same spot. It's a service we don't offer. We're running out of ground in the cemetery. I just thought it would be an option for people. It's, and, you know, there's no rush. It's not like if we buy, but we've got money in the cemetery account to cover this.
Yes, sir.
So it's not like we're having to borrow money to do it. The big one's about $26,000, and I would say we'll spend close to 10 with the slab, the benches, prepping it all, and getting this thing down here and delivered. The big one weighs a little over 15,000 pounds. So, you know, it's not like we're gonna send our guys to go load it up and bring it down here and set it off with the tractor. I mean, it'll take a professional company to move it. And I thought it was interesting. We were talking to him. He was like, you know, how do you move it once you start setting it down? And they set it on blocks of ice so they can move it around, and then the ice melts and it sits on the ground.
To get the straps from underneath
Yeah,
the
and
town.
to get the straps on the lifting straps out of it. Thought that was pretty cool. It would, so the units average about $300 per niche is what it averages. Depending on what we wind up having in them, the more we have in there, our cost goes down. But my thought process is, you know, you maybe charge $1,000 a niche for this. You know, if it took 10 years to fill up the first one, so be it. If we sold it all in a year, we buy another. If it took 20 years, so be it. I mean, I don't think it's rushed.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Lawson?
I can tell you right now, in doing this, it's a slow move. It's not a quick return on your money. I think we built the budget up for the simple reason, if we were to run out of spaces, we still have money to maintain the cemetery instead of drawing on the general fund.
Yeah.
That money has been protected. I've tried to protect it after mayor. I think it's just, if there was a market for it, I'd say yeah. But 9 out of 10 people take their cremains home, or they take them somewhere and scatter. The reason they choose cremation sometimes, about 80% of the time, is financially concerned at the beginning versus going out here and spending. And that's probably kind of on the low side on the niche price. I've seen those go up to $2,000 a niche. Just depends on where it's located and the proximity of where you live. Another thing to get into as far as people want to put flowers on the front. So they want you to put a vase actually on the front of those. So when you start drilling into that plate, if it cracks, whose liability is that? That's the city's. I don't know. It's a lot of money. Even though we have what 250,000,
Nearly 3.
So
nearly
yeah,
300,000 in our cemetery. You know, it's. I'd like to see us maybe wait a little while till we build up that fund just a little more, and then step out and do something like this.
But I'll tell you this, James, because I ran the numbers on what we're paying to have the cemetery, the grass cut and maintain, and we got 30 years worth of money.
If
To
we could
maintain.
stay with the same company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, at that rate, we got 30 years worth of grass cut in the bank today,
Yeah.
and we're still selling cemetery plots.
And you know, it's it's just a slow play. I've seen them, you know, some people want them, some people just
don't care nothing about it.
We could start with a smaller one. I mean, I'm proposing to spend $36,000, $37,000. The slab, the unit, the benches, everything, for 72 spots to start with, is what my proposal was. We can buy a smaller one, we can wait. I mean, we're gonna kind of protect that area. And for sure, we will probably slow down selling grave sites with the increase in price and limit it to city residents.
I haven't even moved in yet, and now I gotta buy a lot. You raised the price.
Y'all got any questions on the pictures? You can see the spaces, this is the prices. Everybody should.
James, what, you said it presented to people that pass burial cremation. Is it 50-50? Is it?
About 45%.
So it's almost at 50.
Yeah, but once again, more people are taking them
Take them
home.
home and setting them on the mountain.
Yeah, taking them
People
home,
do
or
like
taking them
necklaces and
to
stuff.
North Georgia streams, out to the beach, versus, and I tell you, and people probably in this room can tell you how many times they've been out to their loved one's grave since they've buried them. Whether it's 3 times a year, 4 times a year, you do it on holidays, anniversaries, and this will be no different. But you might, the way to go with this, I would say, is to pre-sale before you bought it. You present the program, pre-sell them, and then you buy this.
Well,
That
with
way
that,
you know how many.
you go ahead and get the slab, get the ground prep slab in, benches maybe,
And then pre-sell it.
pre-sale before setting the unit.
Yeah.
You gotta set, once you sell one, you gotta
Pre-sell.
set the unit.
Huh?
Once you sell one, you gotta set.
That's
the
right.
unit.
Do you think he doesn't,
I
Sharon doesn't?
don't think you can pre-sell it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
Yes. You're the expert at it.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
That first sale means we gotta set a unit.
So it's like pre-selling a cemetery space.
Yeah, there's tons of people that have already bought
Yeah.
cemetery lots.
That
Like you just said,
way,
you can't see it. You can't see what you're.
well, that's where you got your nice color photos, and that's what these guys do. They go out here to these places and they say, they go to a cemetery and they say, hey, this is what we got to present from, we're getting this from China versus Elberton Granite.
Right.
That's another thing I kind of look at too, where this is coming from a China quarry.
India, I think is where he told me these came from.
India,
I think he said they came from India.
they're coming from all over.
Or the granite at least came from India.
They're flooding the United States with granite, and that's how they mass produce these things to
I want my,
do our granite quarry in Elberton.
Okay, so how do y'all wanna,
I think we need to do more research on
I think there's enough questions, just table this.
okay. Then I will be at that
Do
point.
y'all want
Thank
to,
you,
give me
Mr.
entertain, just go ahead and do the slab? And getting it prepped?
it. What size would we prep it for?
I'd still go do the 20 by 20 and eat up two lots. They're on that very back corner, close, kind of at the point down there where the 2 roads meet. I went by this morning or something. There's a great big rock sticking up out of the ground there. That's another thing. If there's a certain area in there that's full of rock, it'd be hard to dig a grave. This will be ideal because it'll be sitting on the surface.
We hit rock in there one time, and it's expensive.
Of the 10,000 you mentioned, about half of that would be the slab, ground prep and slab, and then the other part would be those benches. So we can get that minimal amount done, so it's taken care of, while we research other types of.
I was thinking 10 grand to pour the slab, the benches, and then have that thing delivered and set. So we could probably get by with, I think the benches were $750 a piece. Yeah, so, $7,000 probably at the most for the slab and set a couple of benches.
I'm deferred to the expert.
I would pre-sell everything before I broke ground on anything. It's the way it's done in the cemetery business. Before you go out, you spend all this money, you make sure you've got at least half of it sold. Look at the money, how much of space do you figure? $9.95 a space?
That's
An inch?
what's- Will they be, the first one got filled will be $72,000 versus,
2,000, so you're gonna, double your money there,
our profit margin's pretty good here,
if you sell.
if you sell them.
That's the thing,
But if you have a
People,
pre-sale,
people dying every day to get in.
if you have a pre-sale, say, hey, we're selling niches, $9.95, come get all you want.
what if you have a pre-sale of someone who just was deceased? Then you can't get to it.
No.
That's why I say, you have it ready.
Yeah, they hold their cremains till this is phased in. That's what you do.
What, can't you like advertise it, like newspaper?
You do it just like a full, if you were gonna sell cemetery spaces, yes, ma'am. And you say, niche is now available at Hoschton City Cemetery.
Right.
But another thing, if you're gonna limit, are you gonna limit these niches to citizens only?
I think you could do these to anybody, because we're gonna have really unlimited space there. I mean, on a 20 by 20 slab, we might be able to put 500 spots in.
So you do your columbarium to anybody that wants to come in and do that. But your spaces, your in-ground spaces, you want to limit to residents only.
Correct.
You can do that.
I mean, we might for sure generate $500,000 here. You talk about, and this is not anything we gotta maintain.
Yeah.
I mean, once it's really done, it's not like you cut the grass around.
The only thing I've seen them vandalized, but we shouldn't have that issue with our police force.
So,
Object.
so what do y'all want to do?
I would not put it on the consent.
I'm thinking we wait. Let's do a 6 months pre-sale. Let's see where we are.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got 6 months that people want to pay.
Yeah, I mean, it's been there 100 years, I don't know another 6
we're gonna
months.
have to promote it.
So we'll have to promote it. I'll fix up some stuff for them, to have it at the desk, for Jen to have it at the desk. And, if we go with the 72 niches, when you pre-sell one, they pick out their niche.
Like their spot inside the niche?
That's correct. That's 12 by 12 niche. Holds one urn.
Well, then I'm gonna have to say that I agree.
And that just keeps us from taking any money out of our cemetery and putting it in something that we're kind of, if it's gonna work, yeah, if it's gonna, we know it's gonna work over a period of time, but my gosh, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be 6 months. Everybody from Crestwood may come by. Man, back there might sell it to everybody in Crestwood.
That's positive marketing.
That's right. Get a whole bunch of flags and put them at the pool.
All right, well then we can move on to citizen input.
Just one thing, Nancy brought up to me, this is the new City of Houston zoning map. Y'all want to take pictures of it? I think is it on the website yet, Jennifer?
Let me just double check.
Not yet.
We'll
Nancy
make
said-
sure, yeah, we'll make sure by this Friday it is.
We just got copies of it, but anybody's interested, we'll make sure you knew what that was.
It's updated through all zoning cases through the date on the map. Last month.
Perfect. All right, citizen input.
All right, this is the time when we have the opportunity for citizens to come up and speak about anything you wish. Just like we did in public hearings, come up to the microphone, speak into it so everybody can hear you, state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton. I'll allow up to 3 minutes for your comments. I've been saying this a good bit lately, but sometimes we sort of get lost. This is really for citizen comments. It's not a question and answer session. I know that sometimes y'all come with questions, and that is perfectly appropriate and understandable. And sometimes you may ask a question, and somebody up here will know how to answer it. But sometimes it may take some research. I will say that the staff and elected officials are available to you pretty easily. So if you ask a question that doesn't draw an answer here this evening, I'm sure that Jennifer and Shannon can point you in the right direction. But I want to avoid, to the extent we can, just getting into a lot of back and forth, because we need to limit speakers to 3 minutes each. And so if you ask questions and don't get an answer right off, I hope you'll take that with a good heart and seek the answers through the staff and elected officials if you don't get them tonight. So with that being said, raise your hands. Who all wants to talk this evening? 1, 2. And ma'am, you said you had...
I'm gonna address it through emails and future meetings, due to
Great.
some agenda changes and all the information I've been receiving here.
Great, all right. Then Sean, you want to come up first, state your name, your address for the resident city of Hoschton. You'll have up to 3 minutes.
Okay, Sean Mandiher, 171 Michigan Circle here in Hoschton. Just a couple of items of response. Number one, the trees. A couple of options there that you may or may not have considered. The Georgia Forestry Commission, I think they often have like where they're doing some training with the folks that are connected with them, and a fell tree is about 70% less cost for somebody to cut and remove than a standing tree. So something to consider with that, as well as the Center for Urban Agriculture.
So the forestry commission will come out and remove the
They
tree?
may, yes, they may. The other, which is more on, maybe a better option, is the UGA Extension for Urban Agriculture. They have a program of training arborists on how to take down trees properly. Again, then you can bring in the other company to take the felled tree, which should be about 60 to 70% less in cost. The other thing related to long and short-term disability for employees, if it's $18 per employee, 15, pay for it now. As a citizen, pay for it now. You guys, in my opinion, don't make enough as it is, so you should make a benefit off of this. And as a taxpayer, I think that y'all should take care of that now.
Great, thank you. All right, sir, you raise your hand. Come up and you'll have 3 minutes.
Evening, everyone. Ross Billingsley, City of Houston resident. I want to say a couple of things tonight. I want to praise the nice folks at Coulter. They have graciously saved both historic sites on the property. One was ironically saved. They didn't want to blast all the rock that was underneath it off that hill. They're doing up west and over there as it is. So they saved the original plantation site or the big plantation house site by just not developing it, and they graciously moved the other chimney hearth over to a wooded area about 50 feet away in a wooded area, so the provenance of both sites staying on the property has been established. So I ran into Coulter for doing that. That's very nice of them to do that. The other point, we talked about, whatever I was just talking about, I asked Coulter to provide me with how many certificates of occupancy they have so far. And Coulter said, well, I bet the City of Houston can do that because they got to have them before we can move in. So I came up and worked with Jennifer, and they had a hand count of all the COs that have been done in Twin Lakes so far, put on City of Houston letterhead given to Jennifer Landers, who's the community director down there. She's the highest ranking person on site. They have a threshold of 700 COs before they do the first traffic study. We want to make sure that when that 700th CO goes in, the Coulter is aware and can start that traffic study as soon as possible. All right.
Seems like that number was 790.
Or was it?
Does anybody else remember? I just seem like I remember saying
I
790.
remember it being 790 as
I think
well.
7 to 9, and we're at 500. What are we?
But we're a few months away from it.
Yeah. About the first of next year is what they're projecting.
Yes,
We just want to make sure that
Yeah, we met with
we did. We met with them this past week.
Last week.
we went over that specific issue.
fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Raise your hand if you want to come up. All right, then I'll close it down and turn it back over to you.
All right, so I will make a motion to adjourn the work session. The time is 6:41. Is there a second? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, we will move over to the regular session. I will make a motion. It is 6:42. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Dr. Sterling, is that you? agenda approval.
Make a motion to approve the minutes, or no, great agenda approval.
Yep. So, go ahead and make that motion.
Is this where we need to add the consent, or?
If you want, I'll go over it like I did last time.
Okay. So I guess I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the consent agenda being described by Mr. Hayes.
Do you need to do it now?
No, I'll do it.
Okay, I will second that. All in favor? All opposed? Minute approval.
Now, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 12th through 14th, 2022 council retreat minutes, April 18th, 2022 public hearing minutes, April 18th, 2022 work session minutes, April 18th, 2022 regular session minutes, and April 28th, 2022 town hall meeting minutes. Busy.
I will make a second on that. All in favor? All opposed? Old business, line item number 1 for that purchasing policy.
All right, Madam Mayor, if you'd like, I'll go through the consent agenda items, which include item number 1 under old business, the purchasing policy amendment as presented. Item 5 under new business, the amendment of the cemetery rates and policy. Number 6, the IGA regarding elections in Jackson County. Item 7, the resolution to pass regarding our election qualifying period. Number 8, our IGA with Jackson County to collect stormwater fees and property taxes. Item 9, the resolution to adopt the standard operating policy for the police department. Number 10, the approval of the cost for the topo survey on Broad Street. Number 11, the adoption of the staff recommendation relating to the Mulberry Home roof. Number 12, the adoption of the staff recommendation, the bid to clear trees on the Mulberry property. Item 13, the water sales agreement between the Jackson County Water and Sewer Authority and the City of Hoschton. Item 14, to authorize the offering of long and short-term disability for employees as described by Dr. Sterling. And I believe that's it on consent agenda.
And we never did put old business number 1 on there, correct?
I mentioned it.
Okay. All right, so I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as Mr. Hayes just read it off. Is there a second?
Can we do one thing, Ab? Can we table number 5 also?
You want to remove item 5 from the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I would restate the summary to include the other items I mentioned, but not item 5.
6 through 14.
So just to confirm, you want to remove the rates and policy and the mausoleum?
Yeah, let's table that for more discussion.
Okay.
All right, so it'll be old business number 1, and then new business 6 through 14. That would be the consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the corrected consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, and then under new business for line item number 1, for the rezoning, B-22-02, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Mr. Hayes?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. I had y'all vote on these tables on the other items. I really should have waited till this regular meeting. So I'm gonna ask y'all again, relating to items 2 and 3, which is Z-22-04 and Z-22-05. If I could get a motion to table those 2 items to our June 20th council meeting.
I will make a motion to table those. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed?
All right, and then item 4, table that one, Z-22-06 to July 18th, if there's a motion to table that.
I will make a motion to table that to July 18th. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay.
We need 5 and 16, 5 and 15.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table items 5 and 15.
For 1 month to June 20th, or do y'all need longer?
No, 1 month.
1 month to June 20th.
I'll second that. All in favor? All opposed? All right.
And then I need an executive session for litigation and real estate.
I will make a motion to go into executive session at 6:47 for real estate and litigation. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed?
You want to cross the street?
Yeah.
Should've worn my sneakers.
Lauren.
Yes.
And you got it. I'm gonna help you out. You gonna help me?
Chief, don't forget your,
I'm coming right back. I'm just gonna help you across the road.
Earned my paycheck.
Yeah.
Girl, I keep the haircut down on my side, so that's why I dress warm at work.
Sorry.
You just said no. Say you just said no. Let's just say you just said no.
Yeah, I'm just,
You just said no.
I really had too much.
I understand. Trust me, I understand. I was thinking you
I
guys.
have 2 meetings tomorrow too, and like,
Yeah, it's okay.
why?
I
And
know.
I was having my red thread, Chelsea just called me, right before we were like, I have to close them. They have to.
It's all good.
So I gotta call around and get back to put out those in the movie.
Absolutely. It's all good. I'll let them know I'll be there.
That'd be a 6. I think 11.
Oh, God, yeah. And they were dying for me to take theirs. They were taking so far away. I wish my mom had done it. She just did it all.
Well, that might. If I can do that, the other meeting that I have someone else. I'll have that there. John Bridge.
The job within 48 hours.
We're already doing others. One outside.
Are they gonna be on?
Oh, I don't think so. No.
Tiffany, can you turn the AC off or down?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I got it on my phone.
Thank you.
Give me 2 seconds.
What about two? See,
Yeah,
I'm on for it.
told me she just told me that her and that Dylan.
Well, we could have two because Nicole, she's the one carrying her.
It's in old. Say something. I'm like, well, then why did you let us go? Normally there's kind of
The idea of people to decorate for a lot of time, my dad's very over at camp, and they are very, very strict.
Is it military?
Yeah. Something really on the military.
Uh-huh.
And but they're very strict about what they'll allow to be very normal.
Yeah.
If you set it up, when you're doing it, what's the issue? The flowers, the faces, we'll get the one that has the door that has this little curve around if you want us to just stick it down. They'll come that way too. But nobody's gonna carry our whole. We take a portion of this, ashes, and then we take it to a portion, and also some necklaces. We go in at Christmas and go on there and it's out. Well, and I like I said, I didn't say it, presents for her and I like her. And we go on with, yes, stuff.
That's been good.
It's very.
It's just too much. I mean, like,
It's covered. It's covered. Already,
well, as long as you take care of it, like, that's
taken care of.
yeah. Yeah, that's what is it on the
You said that, she said that, you know, I said thank you. I'm just stepping in where I'm outside there.
You're always welcome. No, come back.
I gotta get warm. So I just have stage fright.
Just curious.
I'm answering your question the best way that I can. And my phone is dying.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We have, he's great, but now like, maybe
What is French?
polka kind of like
Oh.
jazz and kind of, you know, it's like playing wrong.
Well, maybe we'd be able to
On the
try
arms.
to put the chateau on. Oh, we tried this.
It's like just the ambiance, you know, just, I don't know. And maybe get a big tent to do it all outside. That would be outside. But there's, so we have that, and then invited a bunch of people, so.
move on to it, but they want to know what it's all about. Our Fringe Festival that we planned, I had one man from Chicago. And the owner of Gallon Flood.
Yes.
Their company was playing.
I know what they want. And I'm gonna go to her. She's going in with my Hoschton.
Yeah.
And then let's start.
Absolutely.
It's one of the things that we're trying to get on calendars. There has to be, we must start meeting and have lots of, and just, yeah, everyone was so excited. It was just happening. We had a good event, and Monday or last night, we had,
Heard.
well over 100 people come out, and we really about what's going on in our city. We had wonderful sponsors that paid for everything. And you've never seen such a great sense of community, and people are more than you're gonna want to see good things. That's what we're all about.
I'm seeing that more and more. Past couple months.
We're
making it right.
It's happier in Hoschton, and it's happening in Hoschton. Those are my two things I feel. So, I love it. New businesses received awards, everyone was pleased. We had a lot of new businesses, some didn't make the cut, because when it was done, they were not yet new businesses, so they'll be announced next year. And we had a business organized that has been here for over 50 years. And it was the way, and it's someone that, he was my landlord when I first came here, and my pharmacy was. And we also, I've known him through that capacity, but also in the community. And he was the one that saved my mother when the car drove through the pharmacy. And she was pinned between a car collapse and stuff and a column. And when he got her, he thought she was dead. But he went talking to her, he went until EMS got there. So now you better understand why I was tearing up while I was reading the thing.
Wow.
So you had a business for 50 years there. Art position.
Oh,
That's great.
he's done so many more things. He's a true community.
Yeah, social partner.
Yes, yes. First started in this location up here, then he built his building and there. And he was in business with his dad, start with him. And then he decided to step out on his own and build his own businesses for his 3 kids, his 3 grandkids. Just very active in his church, he's done a lot of everything in his community. He's also done a lot of mission work. And when my mom came home from the hospital, which was a long recovery, she came to my house, she couldn't go home alone. He came on numerous occasions to my house to pray. People like that are special.
Absolutely.
It was emotional to be able to do that. So yeah, he was. He's contributed to a lot, never wants to have recognition. This is the back of the room, kind of got his family had to get him here because he would have been on time. And then like, oh, I'll show up if I do, don't. And his wife and his daughter and son. And his sister who owns a tax business inside his building. You will be there. It was awesome. Just awesome. And did your son had surgery in Colorado, is that right?
At Kansas City.
Kansas City.
That's where he's stationed at now. Well, he's stationed in Fort Leavenworth, but he has an apartment, he's staying in Kansas City.
You're old enough to have a son that's in the military?
Yeah, I have an older daughter, yeah.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I live in Crestwood, hello.
I thought you lived in like the Twin Lakes section, because there's
I'm
no
Roses,
way.
I'm in Crestwood.
I'm genuinely stunned.
And I have been late. I didn't get here until I was 27.
Our daughter is 29, and she lives in Argentina.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I've had her so far away.
Thank God for technology.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. They leave this week, she and her longtime boyfriend, who's from Argentina, they leave this week and they're going on a 4-month trip living in Europe because they both can work remotely with their jobs. And living an extremely exciting life that I would say her dad is jealous of. Because, you know, he's really having to start to work really hard right now and laying groundwork for everything that starts in June. So he's jealous. I'm like, there are no trips in your future, sweetheart. You'll be working. No trips. I'm stunned. I'm still staring at you going, I'm not seeing this.
Yeah, it's there, trust me. I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, Lord. The last 10 years.
I feel like the last 5 years, time has marched across my face.
It was, yeah,
Going
exactly.
back and forth a few times. I'm gonna sleep. That's for sure. No, I'm sleeping because I'm sitting still. Yeah. It's flat out. Well, the house is 6 8. Please order me on the way. I know. Take the whole menu. Order.
Well, 19 weeks, which I signed up for this like 6 months ago, so I'm like, oh, no, it's here. In Beaufort. Yeah, like a public rec type thing, I don't know, it sounded good at the time. And now it's here, so it starts over something like that. Some of the ladies from Preston. No, but I mean, I really love playing pickleball. I'm competitive, so sometimes it's better if I just say, look, you know, because I draw my knees up doing that.
Yeah.
You know, pull them up and they're just in one direction. That's when I'm sitting in the chairs, like excruciating, yeah. So I can stand and walk, and it's just sitting hurts. So yeah. But anyways, I know. I'm doing it. But I want to get out.
Try to wait this before I get bottom my knees, I can do it.
Yeah, and tennis to me, it's like tennis, but paintball. I mean, because it's, I mean, so your knees are just, at least tennis, you can take a step back and baseline, or pickleball is like so jerky.
Really? I don't think I could do that.
Their parents get injured, there's some big injuries coming up.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
everybody's getting out there thinking they can do it.
Well, they think they promote it as being a easier sport.
I don't think it's not, I don't think it's easier. But to me, it wasn't, tennis wasn't a sport, because tennis, but I'm a bass player, so I have time, and, you know, pickleball, like, you're like, it's basically, it's fast.
I like net, but I said I like net and mixed doubles, but I don't know about this pickleball thing.
I enjoyed it. But what killed me is right around that Christmas time during like Jingle Mingle and all that, and then we played 5 matches in 6 days. So you get in.
Yeah, you're
You're
wore out.
Yeah,
I was showing up. I mean, like I was Bengayed everywhere. It was so cold, but I was so Bengayed, and my leggings were wet and everything. I was like, and then the very last one, because we ended up winning and stuff, and I hadn't really played much, and then playing people that never lost in our little group or whatever. We weren't really that good, but we were just screaming and I think that little match. She's just like, hey, you're on fire. And I was like, no, I was like, I'm in so much pain. It was done. Because I was not going to go more than 3 sets because you can take the 5. I'm like, no, we're getting this done out of here. And that killed me that day, or that night. I need to score. Oh, you know what, there's no one to see, but. Try to go with them.
Saturday,
Good turnout. No, just- I heard about it.
And the goats,
I didn't hear that.
you hear the goats as well.
Well, there you go.
Governor Kemp spoke.
Oh, okay.
Do you see it there?
And I went several places to get our schools.
Yeah, they're on a tour or something. They left from Texas. And had to bless them about the black SUVs. He gave a very good speech.
What? We went in and looked for this week. I was ready and just did it. Yeah. Well, I already knew what I was gonna do. I did it.
Yeah, there's a couple I wasn't sure. I mean, I knew my hand. But I didn't know this. And I put my name on the ballot for all. Got letters there.
Didn't hear that. What was that last?
Said you have to have a letter beside your name. as long as it's
Yeah.
not worse.
Alright, you need to hurry.
If you need help to further what you're doing with information, it's like you're running through this course.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get him on the bandwagon, I think that it one across the way, that's good. Yeah. Just trying to understand how the county works. It's a bit, but so that's what I'm trying to tackle, so I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I need to know too.
I know my always was, because at least you say positions in there.
I'm sure he's decent. But he's
Those are hilarious with the plastic.
Yeah.
he really knows what's going
There's 11 people that want that. I see that they want. It's not that fun before I answer this question.
See what he's saying, I know it's over, right? Stay calm.
I said, but I don't know who this is. Yeah. Oh, that's really good reasons.
He's trying to be funny, right?
No, I think he's being serious, like, once people get in, his speech can't compare, so I think once they get to know him, such a likable guy, I think that's what he was getting at, it was kind of almost sad.
Well, when they came to our thing, You couldn't make it on that one
Right.
with ours. State. I think this is really
So what people
laying
find,
it out there.
He has an event coming up. March 24th.
yeah.
March.
Jefferson Club. Oh, that's the 24th. That's the party. The non-vote party. Election. Election.
We had dinner with friends for the night, and I was just saying, God, he said, you still have computers, and I said, yeah, I'm using them. That's my job. And so now, so they must think I said, we're having dinner this weekend. I'm like, hey. Husband knows that. He knows I was doing that. I said, usually it's me and all the others. Yeah. Okay, I want to shot or anything. You were fine. You were just fine. Yeah. Yeah. I've never been. But that was one of them. That's way rare. I'm like, holy smokes. Not to go on that. The others on.
That's just him before the election. And then afterwards, he would call for and he asked him about the certified election.
It was up to him.
I thought, well, that, and people thought that, but I didn't tell him. I said it wasn't on him. Curry says, you know, let's just get someone who can do the job. It was, Jonathan, I don't think making fun of them. Because they're jokers, I like my colleagues, we're related, his wife hired her. Tell us what you're gonna do, like, I don't want to, thank you for exposing, you know, I don't, let's just, tell me that's what you, what you're gonna do. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it's very resourceful. Oh, really?
Ben, did Commerce play today?
Yeah, I don't know how they,
They're playing today, right?
they're playing today, they're playing 2 games today. So. They're down 5-2 last ball, I can't.
I did, I said, what happened? I was looking at her talking, I don't. So it was you that tripped?
Yes. She tricked me.
She tripped you?
All right, I will make a motion to come out of executive session. It is 7:24. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
All right, we do have one item that came up in executive session that would require action. This is resolution 2022-9. It relates to the purchase of 2 pieces of property. What's known as the Susan Jackson property and also the Stansel property. The city has previously entered into purchase and sale agreements for both properties. This would be a resolution to authorize the conveyance of the city's right to purchase those properties to the Downtown Development Authority and an intergovernmental agreement with the Downtown Development Authority to work to develop and lease the properties for fair market value, with the proceeds to come to the city of Hoschton, with that right to terminate June 30th, 2023. Do y'all have any questions about that? All right, then it would be appropriate for y'all to consider that and make a motion. I believe, Mr. Carswell, you're going to recuse yourself from this matter?
Yes.
All right.
And with that, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
All right.
And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? There we go.